Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bath, Maine, and welcome to Bath Iron Works. Good morning. My name is Chris Waller. I'm the Vice President of Programs and Planning here for General Dynamics Bath Iron Works. Thank you for joining us to celebrate the keel laying for our nation's newest Arleigh Burke class destroyer, DDG 127, the Patrick Gallagher. I would like to welcome some very special guests that are with us for today's ceremony. With me up front are our three ship sponsors, Patrick Gallagher sisters, Teresa Keegan, Rosemary Gallagher, and Pauline Gallagher. We are also joined by Patrick Gallagher's brother, Peter Gallagher. We would also like to welcome back to BIW Captain Seth Miller, the Navy's DDG 51 class program manager, commanding officer and supervisor of shipbuilding here in Bath, Maine, Captain David Hart. Please help me welcome Captain Miller, Captain Hart, and our ship sponsors to Bath Iron Works. I would also like to recognize some other distinguished guests. General Walter E. Boomer, United States Marine Corps retired, former Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps. Also Brigadier General Michael I. Neal, United States Marine Corps retired, Navy Cross recipient, and former Assistant Division Commander of the 4th Marine Division. Also joining us today are representatives from the Office of the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Maine Senator Susan Collins, and Maine Representative Jared Golden, along with Bath Iron Works President Dirk Lesko. Welcome also to the family members and friends of Patrick Gallagher, many of whom have traveled from Ireland to be with us here today. We are also honored to be joined by several Marines that served with Patrick in Vietnam. Please join me and extend a warm welcome to Bath, Maine to all of our guests. The Consul General of Ireland in Boston sent a wreath of flowers today for the ceremony and the following letter marking this occasion. Dear Ms. Gallagher and distinguished guests, I write to pay tribute to the memory and courage of Corporal Patrick Gallagher, an Irish citizen who distinguished himself in the service of the United States Marine Corps. I offer my congratulations to his family on the occasion of the keel laying of the USS Patrick Gallagher on this 55th anniversary of his death. Corporal Gallagher was awarded the Navy Cross, the U.S. Navy's highest honor, for his selfless actions which saved the lives of his fellow Marines on July 18, 1966. He was killed in action on 30th of March, 1967. Irish people have historically played leading roles in all walks of life in the United States. Corporal Gallagher's story exemplifies this to the highest degree. Military service is cherished in the United States, and it is fitting to honor Patrick's service and his ultimate sacrifice for his adopted country. I would also like to pay tribute to Patrick's family, including his siblings, for their work to honor his memory. For it is not only the serving member who makes sacrifices, but also their families. The keel laying of the USS Patrick Gallagher reflects the honor that the Navy has bestowed upon Patrick and his memory, but I hope you, his family, also feel honor and pride for the sacrifices you have made. Yours in gratitude, Alicia Moore, Consul General of Ireland in Boston. We thank the General Consul for being part of our celebration today on behalf of the people of Ireland. Shipyards have been celebrating the keel laying along the banks of the Kennebec River for over 400 years, and at Bath Iron Works for over 137 years. For a wooden ship, keel laying is celebrated at the start of construction, when the keel, the continuous member that forms the backbone of the vessel, is laid on the shipway. It is a time for celebration because it represents work for the shipbuilders and an opportunity for those shipbuilders to highlight their craft. We celebrate keel laying when the first major unit prepares to leave the building and be placed on the shipway. It is an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment that a Bath-built ship is best built in every stage of construction. More than 1,000 men and women have worked on this ship since we first cut steel in September 2018. Each is dedicated to ensuring DDG 127, the Patrick Gallagher, lives up to the expectation that goes with a Bath-built ship. In a few weeks, this unit behind me will move outside to the shipway number 2, where we'll be joined by other similar units. In a little over a year, our ship's completion team will complete the assembly and ready the ship for christening and launch. In 12 months after that, our test and activation team will prepare all systems and take this ship to sea for trials. We at Bath Iron Works are privileged to be chosen to be building the Patrick Gallagher. We will ensure this ship will be ready to serve our nation nobly, as Lance Corporal Gallagher did for the Marine Corps in Vietnam. We will be proud to call Patrick Gallagher a Bath-built ship. At this point, please welcome our DDG 51 Class Program Manager, Captain Seth Miller, to share some remarks. Captain.
Hey, good morning. Let me start by personally welcoming the family and friends of Corporal Patrick Gallagher. I understand that many of you have traveled as far as Ireland, and we're glad you made it safely, and are most honored to have Patrick's sisters, Miss Teresa Keegan, Miss Rosemarie Gallagher, and Miss Pauline Gallagher, and also his brother Peter, and many of his nieces and nephews in attendance, as well as a number of the Marines with whom he served. Generals, welcome. In addition, we have representatives from the offices of Senator Schumer, Senator Collins, Representative Golden, as well as representatives from BIW and the Navy shipbuilding team. Thank you. Truly humbled to be here today representing Admiral Tom Anderson, who's my boss, PEO Ships, and the women and men of the DDG 51 shipbuilding program. Given the events over the last 2 years, the program is very grateful for the opportunity to gather in person to celebrate the laying of the keel for the future Patrick Gallagher DDG 127. As Chris mentioned, in earlier times, keel laying marked the laying down of the central timber that constitute the backbone of a vessel. This timber was then used as the foundation upon which the ship was built. Today, as you can see, ships are built a bit differently, and this ceremony symbolically recognizes the early stages of construction where the modular components begin to come together to form the ship. One of these modular components, called an ultra unit here at BIW, is what we stand under today, just right behind me. While the process for construction has changed, the milestone is no less important, as this milestone continues to serve as a foundation for the ship moving forward. The future USS Patrick Gallagher, the 127, will be the 77th ship of the class and the 47th and last of the Flight 2A upgrade ships for the program. The first Flight 2A started construction in 1994, and the ships have continued to evolve and incorporate major upgrades to their combat capability. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers are built to fight and continue to keep pace with ever-increasing threats, remaining adaptable in order to meet future challenges as the United States continues to engage in a great power competition with China and Russia. Today marks, as you all know, today marks the 55th anniversary of the sacrifice that Corporal Patrick Gallagher made in the service of his country. He is a hero, and it's important to reflect on his remarkable story and why the Navy chose to name a ship after him. The story begins in 1962 at the age of 18 when Patrick Bob Gallagher immigrated to the United States from County Mayo, Ireland. When he arrived in the United States, he began studying law and volunteering for Senator Robert Kennedy while working in real estate. Over the course of the next 4 years, it is clear he developed a deep sense of loyalty to the United States and decided to strive to protect the American ideals of democracy and freedom. Patrick Gallagher deployed in April of 1966 as a member of Hotel Company 24 Marines, 3rd Division, to Vietnam. At Cam Lo on July 18th of 1966, enemy fighters threw a grenade into the foxhole that Lance Corporal Gallagher shared with 3 other Marines. His quick thinking allowed him to kick the grenade clear, where it detonated safely away from the group. Another grenade came in quick succession and landed between 2 sleeping Marines. Lance Corporal Gallagher heroically threw himself on top of the live grenade in an attempt to absorb the blast and save his fellow Marines. Miraculously, that grenade did not detonate, and he maintained his stance until his fellow Marines were able to escape. He was then able to throw the grenade in the nearby river where it detonated on contact without inflicting any wounds. For this heroism, Lance Corporal Gallagher was promoted to corporal and awarded the Navy Cross, which was presented to him by General William C. Westmoreland in January of 1967. 55 years ago today, on March 30th, 1967, Corporal Gallagher's commanding officer needed an extra man for patrol. As he had done many times over, he once again volunteered. During that patrol, there was an encounter with the enemy, and he was killed during the engagement. Patrick Gallagher made the ultimate sacrifice as he continued to demonstrate steadfast loyalty to this great country, as well as his fellow Marines. While there is nothing that can be done to make up for your loss, it should bring us great solace that his memory will live on as the future USS Patrick Gallagher. The ship will sail on behalf of the United States for decades to come. Undoubtedly, the crew will continue to demonstrate the same loyalty and sacrifice that Patrick did 55 years ago to ensure the American ideal can continue to prevail. Thank you. Now, to the men and women of Bath Iron Works, thank you for being here today. The Navy and the nation are counting on you to build her well and build her quickly. Each of you should know that what you do every day is vitally important to our country. Your hard work and sacrifice remains just as key today as it was since the founding of our nation. Without shipbuilders, there would be no ships for the Navy to answer the call. With your continued service and dedication, the country will remain the world's greatest Navy, and that will include the awesome capability of the future USS Patrick Gallagher. To all present here today, thank you again for the opportunity to be a part of this significant achievement. And to the Gallagher family, thank you for your sacrifice.
Thank you, Captain Miller. It is my distinct pleasure now to welcome Pauline Gallagher to say a few words on behalf of the entire Gallagher family. Pauline?
Ladies and gentlemen, Father Tracy, Captain Miller, my fellow sponsors, Patrick's sisters, Teresa and Rosemary, and Peter, Patrick's brother. A special welcome to Patrick's former colleagues, Frank Morelli, Walter Boomer, and to Jean Ann Clark, whose father Harlan was one of the men who Patrick saved in Vietnam. The Gallagher family are delighted that you have all joined us here on this historic day, a day of remembrance and celebration. I want to point out that Patrick, or Bob as we called him, served in the United States Navy. He was an Irishman first and foremost. And to mark this connection between our two nations, the Defence Forces of Ireland are gifting an Irish flag, which we hope will always be displayed on the ship. I will ask Captain Miller to step forward to accept the Irish flag from Peter. It's a gift to the ship from the Irish Defence Forces. Thank you, Peter. Some of you might find it surprising that while Patrick had been in the United States for 5 years, our family was not aware that he had been deployed to Vietnam until we received a letter from him dated January 28, 1967. I will read an extract from that letter now. January 28th. Dear Mammy, Daddy and all, I hope you won't be too mad at me for the news I've got for you. When I was home last year, I had my orders for Vietnam. I'm there now and have been ever since. I will be leaving here in about 60 days. Now don't get worried, everything is going just fine. However, last July, my battalion was involved in some fighting. I was recommended for the Navy Cross for outstanding bravery. It's not much, but they're making a big thing out of it here. The Navy Cross is the second highest honour that the government of the United States of America can give to anyone. Today, the General asked to see me and told me that Washington had approved it and that you would be notified. And the press would give it a big write-up, both in the United States and in Ireland. I know that this is quite a surprise, but it's better than you hearing it on the radio. I will hope you will forgive me for not telling me sooner. And I also hope that you'll be proud of me for getting such an honour. Well, proud they were, but having Patrick or our Bob home was what they longed for most. Perhaps they had in mind the words of a song President Kennedy quoted when he was in Ireland. Come back to Ireland, Mavourneen. Come back Aroon to the land of your birth. Come with the shamrocks and the springtime. Well, this day, the 30th of March, 55 years ago, the shamrock had bloomed and the 60 days of waiting had passed. Patrick's brothers and sisters were eagerly awaiting his arrival, and as the newspapers reported at the time, the town was ready to welcome its bravest son. What we did not know, that this, on his last days in Vietnam, Patrick had been safe in camp and waiting to return home upon hearing that a group of rice farmers were coming under attack. Patrick was redeployed to the front line. He chose the path of bravery and sacrifice and put himself in harm's way to help his colleagues and the villagers of Quang Nam province. There, he and 8 others lost their lives. When the news reached home, our family were devastated and the community were in shock. And over the years, our parents had to balance their grief and the dignity that Patrick's story brought. They taught us to respect the choices he had made and that life was for living, to be brave and bold. As my mother grew older, she worried that the day had come that nobody would remember Patrick. On Patrick's 50th anniversary, this day 5 years ago, something very special happened. The people of Ballyhonus and Granlahan finally got to have the celebration it had planned all those years earlier. The ceremony started with Mass at the church attended by the Irish Minister for Defence, members of the United States Marine Corps, Brigadier General Mike Neal, members of the Irish Defence Forces, who gave full military honours at the graveside. This was followed by a display of Patrick's life in the Friary of Ballyhonus that ran for 4 days. The Irish Times newspaper wrote an article on Patrick, and this article was the inspiration for Martin Durkin, who on a stopover to Dallas relayed the story of Patrick to Marius Stanley. Together, they came up with this big idea of a ship for Patrick. They would collect 10,000 signatures and petition the Secretary of the Navy to name a United States ship after a 23-year-old Irishman. I remember thinking at the time, as my father would say, well, hug a lath or good luck with that. But slowly but surely, the petition gained momentum. People from all over the world were signing. We would like to thank each and every person who signed that petition and the many media people who published Patrick's story. When Senator Schumer got involved, we dared to dream that the USS Patrick Gallagher would one day set sail. Then, on March 12, 2018, a phone call from the Secretary of the Navy, Richard Spencer. He was naming the next ship for Patrick. When we heard that the contract was awarded to General Dynamics, Bath Iron Works, we could not have been happier. For even 3,500 miles away, we knew that Bath built is best built. To all the skilled workers whose craftsmanship and expertise will bring this ship to completion, we say a big thank you. For the warm welcome we got here today, and especially to Kim, Julie and Robert, who have worked so hard with us, getting us all here, we also say thank you. Thank you to the Navy, to Alicia, Debbie and Melissa, who has taken such good care of us. Alicia has liaised with us over the last number of years, keeping us up to date with the ship's progress. At the start, Alicia would laugh when I would refer to the future USS Patrick Gallagher as our brother's ship. But to us and the future generations, it will always be Bob's ship. We look forward to returning here for the christening and launch. President Biden finishes his addresses by saying, "God save our troops." We echo that wish. However, today, the final word goes to you, our heroic brother Patrick. We love you, we miss you, but we're very, very proud of you. We know that you and our parents, Peter and Mary Gallagher, our sisters, Margaret and Bridie, brothers Martin and John Joseph, are all with us here in spirit today. And Patrick, you will always live forever young in our hearts and minds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pauline. Teresa, Rosemary, and Pauline, it is now time for you to authenticate the keel of your ship. Our sponsors will be assisted by Edward Hayes, a Bath Iron Works welder with 33 years a BIW welder with a fan club and 33 years of experience, who will help them with inscribing their initials on the keel plate. So if you ladies would join us over at the keel plate, please.
declare that the keel of the future USS Patrick Gallagher
Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, that completes our keel laying ceremony. Thank you all for attending. Please work safely. Thank you.